Kings and Queens, Your Majesties, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for returning. Trust you and yours are well. And you're loving yourself and others like always. Many thanks to all of you for the support you give to the channel. Thank you so much to our channel members, to our anonymous supporters, to all of you my sim subscribers. You're loved, celebrated, and of course, appreciated. So, the Sahel officially had made it known to the whole world that they are withdrawing from ICC, International Criminal Court. And please pardon the background noise. They have officially told the world that they are leaving the ICC. And we are all aware with these international bodies that when you say you want to leave, it's not that you're leaving immediately, but there is a window, a window gap of 1 year that will be given to you, so that you can also rethink your decision and things like that. Just exactly what happened when they were exiting ECOWAS. ECOWAS had also given them a year window to rethink their decision, to be sure whether they really want to leave or not. And after that grace was given, 1 year grace was given for them to rethink. At the end, they still decided to exit ECOWAS. And they had created, their own body, which is the AES, the Alliance of Sahel States. It's been a little while we talk about the Sahel here. It's been a little while we talk about, our Captain Ibrahim Traore, General Simi Goita, and General Abdurrahmani Chiani. I keep telling you here that is the angle of the continent that gives joy to my heart, that gladdens my heart, basically. I don't know for any other person, but me personally, I'm so happy when I talk about the Sahel, because it's only good things that come out of there. Now, it takes men with guts to make decisions that these leaders are making. And they did not just, table their desire to exit ICC to the world, but they have created their own criminal courts for their alliance. For the 3 states, rather, they have created theirs. They have created what we see to, the justice system of the Sahel. They have created that. We should applaud them. I don't know, but I'm seeing the fire in these Sahel leaders. Now, like I was saying, tabling your desire to exit ICC doesn't mean you've left. They still have 1 year. So it's after that 1 year that if they really still want to leave, they will. But like I told you, this was exactly what they did with ECOWAS. And so we believe, like I'm 100% sure that the Sahel will cut off from ICC. Now, there were some, accusations labeled against ICC, the reason why they had to exit ICC. The Sahel had accused the ICC of double standard. And I think this is exactly the similar accusation that was labeled against the ECOWAS while they exited the ECOWAS. Because the ECOWAS, there are things that the ECOWAS have to see to. ECOWAS do not see to it. ECOWAS can collect money from the enemy to sell their own brother. ECOWAS are doing the opposite of what they claim that they are there for. Now, the accusation labeled against ICC about double standard is even seen in some of the recent cases that involve Africa or Africans. When I say Africa, I mean the countries or the individual. Okay? Cases that involve anything that has to do with the continent or that has to do with the motherland, there is a way that these cases are being treated. Okay? Now, I do not want to use the word the ICC is being racist, but it's like there is this preferential treatment that is given to people who are not from Africa. I just hope you understand me. You understand where I'm coming from, and you understand where the Sahel leaders are coming from. So if you feel that you are an international, justice system, why does it seem like when it comes to Africa, your eyes are open, and when it comes to other people, your eyes are closed? I don't know. When it comes to the continent, the decisions you make doesn't seem to look like this. You are giving any, you are interested even in the Africans who had, brought this discussion or these issues to you. So These are the accusations labeled against them. And again, that it has become a neo-colonial instrument of repression, okay? And it practices selective justice. And this is where we're still talking about, double standard. We're talking about, preferential treatment given to other people who are not Africans. And when it comes to the case of Africans, reverse become the case. Things are not done accordingly as it should be because they don't even view us as human beings. Sometimes when I say things like this, I am tempted to bite my tongue a little bit so that some of the things, some of this word doesn't just come out, because it might look like I'm just going far, with what I'm saying. But the truth is that I keep telling you here, especially when I talk about why we should unite as the melanated community. I keep telling you here, we are the only ones that got our backs. So if you think that anybody out there love you so much and is rooting for you or is watching your back, you're gonna be kidding me, because this is a fact before your face. When it becomes your case, it becomes a case. I hope you understand. All right, so this is exactly what the Sahel leaders saw, and they felt like it's not going to be okay that they are still living in a system like that, given that they had even kicked out everything that has to do with the West from their region. And for the few I saw this coming personally, okay, when this whole issue of human rights violation was accused or labeled on Ibrahim Traore, and I think even the president of Niger, okay, when this whole issue was labeled on them, I just saw this coming. The question I asked myself was that, can't there even exist this ICC? I asked that question. Can't they just leave that body? Who gave them the right to come and just openly make these judgments and conclude that these leaders, are violating laws? Okay, so they will definitely use their power to destroy the reputation, the image of the Sahel leaders. And for these leaders to have exited this ICC, like I said, it's not official yet, but I trust my Sahel leaders. I know that they will not just wake up and agree on something that they have not thought about. They had thought about this. They believe that leaving this body is going to be the best for them, and it will happen. I want us to listen to this keenly, and we leave our thoughts and opinion there at the section, Your Majesty. So you also tell us whether you are happy that they are exiting the ICC, or you feel that they should remain with the ICC for some other reasons, because this also has the downside, okay? When it comes to, relationship with the international body, they will be affected, because since they are no more in the system, it will be so difficult for any foreign body to have any dealings with them, because they will feel like, okay, they are no more in the international justice system. So why should we go have, these deals with them or these dealings with them? But I kid you not, these leaders are ready. They are prepared. Okay, in short, they don't even want anything that has any connection with the West in the first place, because for them to have kicked out the West and anything that has to do with Europe and America from their region, that shows that they were prepared. They had other alternatives. Okay, they are ready, and they believe that they can survive without Europe and America. So listen to this and leave your thoughts and opinion there at the section.
Concerned as we are to preserve the sovereignty and dignity of our people, the heads of state of our alliance withdrew with immediate effect from the Statute of Rome of the International Criminal Court on the 22nd of September 2025. With this withdrawal, we are seeking to prioritise, as of now, homegrown justice mechanisms in line with our social values and mechanisms that are in the interest of our peoples. We also denounce the double standards that we've seen by some international players, whose morals are flexible depending on their interests. They like to give lessons, teach others lessons, but they're not themselves the best example for respect for human rights. We call on our partners to prioritise dialogue and cooperation, which remain the best tools for promoting human rights around the world.
The General Assembly will now hear an address by His Excellency Mr. Abdoulaye Maiga, Prime Minister, Head of Government and Minister of Territorial Administration and Decentralization of the Republic of Mali. I request protocol to please escort His Excellency, who I invite to address the Assembly.
Madame la Présidente,
President of the General Assembly, heads of state and government, United Nations Secretary General, ladies and gentlemen. As I begin my statement, I have the honour to extend to you the cordial greetings and the message from the founding fathers of the Alliance of Sahel States, Their Excellencies, Army General Assimi Goïta, President of Transition Head of State of Mali, and the President of the Alliance of Sahel States, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, President of Burkina Faso, Head of State, and Army General Abdurrahman Tiani, President of the Republic of Niger, and Head of State. I would also like to share with you the warm congratulations from the dignified people of the Alliance of Sahel States, determined more than ever to free themselves from the yoke of imperialism and enjoy their right to self-determination in a Pan-African spirit. As we wish you every success in your election to preside over this 80th session of General Assembly, Madam President, the Alliance of Sahel States would also like to congratulate your predecessor, His Excellency Mr. Philemon Yang from the Republic of Cameroon, and congratulate him on his exemplary leadership of the work of the 79th session. Finally, I wish to reiterate to our Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres, reiterate our appreciation of the efforts that he continues to undertake to achieve the noble objectives of our shared organisation. Ladies and gentlemen, the topic chosen for this 80th session of the General Assembly, Better Together, 80 Years and More for Peace, Development and Human Rights, end of quote, is of particular importance for the Member States of the AES Confederation. Yes, peace, mutual assistance, development and the preservation of human rights remain the main objectives. Indeed, the raison d'etre of the United Nations. Alas, these key objectives have never been so sorely tested in the world, and in Sahel in particular, because essentially of armed groups with dark age thinking, weaponized and supported by foreign state sponsors. The member states of the Alliance of Sahel States are on the front line of the fight against terrorism, which is both a real threat to international peace and security, but also and above all, a grave attack on the very foundations of our states. Led by our heads of state, our security and defence forces of the three countries of the Sahel Alliance are working closely together in a spirit of collaboration and complementarity that has never been seen before. We are driven by a common commitment to pool our efforts to tackle the scourge of terrorism. This new momentum, which is built around strengthening operational capacity of our security and defence forces through far-reaching recruitment, suitable training and appropriate provision of equipment, is seeing encouraging results every day on the ground. This confirms the relevance indeed of our sovereign decision to work together to fight our common enemies. Unlike some states who open safe passage corridors onto their territory for terrorists so that they can attack other countries to use their territory as a rear base, the founders of the alliance, through again this Pan-African spirit and concerned as they are to preserve the interests of their people, decided to make their countries more safe, trying to stop this threat spreading to other African countries and indeed around the world, doing a real public service for security in the region and the world. there is no shadow of a doubt that through their sacrifice, the valiant security and defence forces are contributing to the security of other regions, particularly countries on the West African coast. We take this opportunity to pay tribute to the memory of the civilian and military victims of insecurity in the Sahel. The sovereign approach that's been implemented is part of a vision borne by the heads of state of the Alliance of Sahel State, which is dedicated to safety and security of our states following the withdrawal of international forces. Against all the odds and far from scuttling our plans, our country showed ingenuity and was able to benefit from their historic geographic characteristics and the resilience of their people who, despite more than a decade of security and humanitarian crisis, continue to show exceptional strength and patriotic engagement. Overall, 3 countries were able to provide a coordinated, homegrown response to this war that was imposed on us. Here I wish to reiterate the determination of the Confederation of the Alliance of Sahel States to become a Pan-African regional power, to continue and step up our actions, to put a stop to terrorism once and for all in our shared home. We are also determined to consolidate the authority of the state, protect our people and their property, and ensure our own prosperity. The Alliance of Sahel States reiterates strongly its condemnation of the open, blatant, sometimes public support of foreign state sponsors, who, for imperialist reasons, are destabilising our entity on the one hand, providing advice to terrorist groups as well as logistical support, arms and ammunition, and on the other hand providing political support to them, providing them with rear bases located in some neighbouring countries in violation of all international rules. Ladies and gentlemen, though it may seem far away, the war in Ukraine and terrorism in the Sahel are connected. Let us remind you that following the terrorist attack against the Malian Security Defence Forces patrol on the 24th to 26th of July 2024 in Tenzawaten in the region of Kidal, Mali denounced this incident, by the way, in its statement on 2024 here in this room, and we condemned the attitude shown by Ukrainian officials who publicly affirmed their participation in this terrorist attack. This outrageous conduct, which we thought was simply that the Ukrainian officials unfortunately confused the international stage with a theatre stage. 1 year later, the situation has worsened, and the Ukrainian regime has become one of the main suppliers of kamikaze drones to terrorist groups around the world. In this context, some Western states should stop supplying arms to Ukraine because they risk contributing to the promotion of international terrorism. For others, including the French regime, who's nostalgic for the colonial era and concerned by their loss of influence in the Sahel, support for the Ukrainian regime is a manoeuvre that's consistent, which aims to occupy the attention of the international community, focusing the attention on the war in Ukraine, at the same time sponsoring terrorist groups who are growing in number in the Sahel. Loyal as we are to the principles of the United Nations Charter, on the 15th of August 2022, Mali seized the Security Council to ask for a meeting of the Council so that my country could provide irrefutable proof of France's support for terrorist activities. So far, this request has not been followed up on, whereas their sabotage continues on various levels. It is time to act so that those responsible for this violence be identified and brought to justice, and resolutions be translated into concrete commitments, and the Sahelian Sahel should be safe once and for all, and the resources of the Sahel should benefit the people of the Sahel. International institutions, the UN chiefly, were created after the Second World War to protect people against violence and destruction and silent genocides. It is high time that the global conscience wakes up, and that international organisations take their share of the responsibility and provide a real response to the distress cries of oppressed people who are clamouring for their sovereignty. The Alliance of Sahel States reiterates its commitment to cooperate with all states, regional organisations, international organisations, and any partners that respect our sovereignty, our sovereign political choices, our security priorities, our priorities in terms of countering terrorism, our priorities for social and economic development. This should be part of a win-win partnership so that our people's aspirations can be met. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition to our efforts to secure our countries and see peace return, the governments of the Alliance of Sahel states are working to implement a comprehensive and integrated strategy. This includes political measures, economic and social development measures, as well as work on justice and reconciliation. In choosing to be audacious in our sovereignty, the Alliance's bodies have launched initiatives, disruptive initiatives focused on homegrown development. Here, there's a clear path so that we can ourselves provide the added value that is crucial for our economies, all the while preserving the dignity of our people. This choice, which we own fully, shows how unwavering we are in our wish to be masters of our own fate. In the same vein, we have included in our national priorities in strategic investment policy in different priority fields, such as infrastructure, energy, industrialisation and the diversification of our economy. As part of this work, we created the Alliance Bank for Investment and Development, which carries out various different projects across the Alliance. The Alliance of Sahel States has as one of its ambitions to develop development ambitions, some clear advantages: a vast territory and 75 million inhabitants, and the majority of these inhabitants are young people. In addition, we have a strong, committed and active diaspora. We also have fertile lands, a lot of water, energy resources, reservoirs and mining resources, which are amongst the richest in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, the third dimension of the theme for this UN General Assembly session is human rights. The Alliance of Sahel States reaffirmed its commitment to respect international law. Human rights law is an international humanitarian law respected, and make sure that they are respected in line with our millennia history that goes back millennia of humanism and our national and international commitments. However, we remain strongly opposed to the weaponization of human rights for political purposes or in order to destabilize our national institutions or indeed entire independent and sovereign states. This concerned as we are to preserve the sovereignty and dignity of our people, the heads of state of our alliance withdrew with immediate effect from the Statute of Rome of the International Criminal Court on the 22nd of September 2025. With this withdrawal, we are seeking to prioritise, as of now, homegrown justice mechanisms in line with our social values and mechanisms that are in the interest of our peoples. We also denounce the double standards that we've seen by some international players, whose morals are flexible depending on their interests. They like to give lessons, teach others lessons, but they're not themselves the best example for respect for human rights. We call on our partners to prioritise dialogue and cooperation, which remain the best tools for promoting human rights around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, at a time when we are marking the 80th anniversary of the United Nations, we must state that our multilateral framework, as embodied by the UN, is being sorely tested in an international context that is notably polarised, where we are seeing a return of nationalism, protectionism, inward-looking attitudes and struggles for power.